August 8th, Roger Stone, a longtime Trump political advisor and self-proclaimed political dirty trickster, boasts in a speech that he has communicated with Assange, that more documents would be coming, including an October surprise. In the middle of August, he also communicates with a Russian cutout Guccifer II, and authors a Breitbart piece denying Guccifer's links to Russian intelligence. Then later in August, Stone does something truly remarkable when he predicts that John Podesta's personal emails will soon be published. Trust me, he says, it will soon be Podesta's time in the barrel.
That is the top Democrat on the House Intelligence Committee raising questions at Monday's hearing about Trump associates and Russian interference in last year's campaign. And we're joined now by the man he was talking about, a longtime friend and advisor to Donald Trump, political strategist Roger Stone, who's written a new book, The Making of the President, 2016. Mr. Stone, thank you for joining us this morning. I know you volunteered to appear and answer the questions of the House Intelligence Committee. Have they accepted your offer, and have you asked for or received any type of immunity in exchange for testifying?
They have only confirmed that they received our offer to testify voluntarily, and I have requested that be in a public session because the three things that the gentleman from California, who's largely full of shiff, said are incorrect. I never made any reference to John Podesta's email. There were a dozen stories about his business dealings.
Trust me, it will soon be Podesta's time in the barrel. That was your tweet, and 2 months later the email came in.
But George, does it say hashtag WikiLeaks, hashtag Assange? He said Stone predicted that his emails would be hacked. No, I didn't. I never said anything of the kind.
We know that there's an active FBI investigation now as well. Have you been contacted by the FBI, you or your lawyers? Any requests for an interview or information?
I have not. What I think you refer to is the surveillance that I'm under that was referred to on page 1 of the New York Times on January 20th. This is on the basis of no probable cause and no evidence whatsoever. The communication he refers to with Assange is through a mutual friend, an intermediary, as it were. I didn't admit this, I announced it. Secondarily, as I have said, the reference to Podesta is general, it is not specific, and by the way, he does have his time in the barrel shortly thereafter.
You have also
admitted, this is a scandal in search of evidence.
You've also admitted communications with this Guccifer II. What exactly did you discuss, and did you ever use encrypted apps like Signal or Telegram to communicate with Guccifer?
No, in fact, the inference that my communication, actually my exchange with Guccifer II, which is entirely on Twitter, both public and private, and which I have now made entirely public, constitutes collusion with the Russians is absurd. Number one, I don't concede that Guccifer is a Russian agent. Go online, there are more theories about that.
Our intelligence officials believe he was.
I understand they also said there were that Hussein had weapons of mass destruction. Just because the intelligence services say something, as we know from history, does not make it true.
So you're confident these investigations are going to turn up no information that contradicts your account?
Well, let's finish with Guccifer. My communication with him is now entirely public. It is benign, not exactly 007 stuff. Secondarily, the timing of my communication is after, not before, I write a story for Breitbart regarding the hacking, and I never defend him for not being a Russian agent in that piece. As Mr. Schiff says, I don't even mention it. It's not even in the piece because I was unaware of that charge at the time I wrote it.
You're a longtime... You're a longtime friend and business partner also of Paul Manafort, who's also volunteered to appear before the committee, also part of this investigation. You actually recommended that Donald Trump hire him during the campaign. Are you confident he did nothing wrong here?
I've been a friend of Paul Manafort's for, I don't know, almost 50 years. We go back to Young Republicans together. He has vehemently denied any wrongdoing, and I choose to take him at his word. I reiterate again, I have had no contacts or collusions with the Russians. In my exchange with Guccifer II, based on the content and the timing, most certainly does not constitute collusion. My brief exchange with him is 6 weeks after the hacking of and publication of the DNC documents, which I'm accused of colluding with him on. In other words, I would need a time machine in order to collude.
White House asked about you and the other associates this week. Here's what Sean Spicer had to say in the White House briefing room.
I heard some names floated around before that were hangers-on around the campaign. Mr. Stone is somebody the president's known for a long time. He played a role early on in his campaign, but ended that role in August of 2015, and I don't know at all when the last time they even spoke was.
Let me bring that question to you, because I was struck by an article in Politico this morning about the president's longtime executive assistant, Rona Graff. You were quoted in the article saying that you want to speak with the president, you go through Rona. So when was the last time you spoke with him?
You know, I have made it my policy not to disclose or discuss my conversations with the president. They happen from time to time. It has been a while now, but I remain a steadfast supporter of Donald Trump. I think he has the potential to be one of our greatest presidents, perhaps even greater than Ronald Reagan. Even given this health care setback, it's just a setback, not a defeat. I'd point out to you that the courts and the Congress thwarted Franklin Roosevelt through most of his first term. He just got back up and tried something else. If something failed, he tried something else. Trump is that kind of president.
Chairman Nunes said he's under this big cloud, the Russia investigation. How does President Trump get out from under it?
Well, let's have this testimony, George. In other words, you have a bunch of congressmen here who I believe have defamed me. I saw demagoguery, fear-mongering, red-baiting, and half-truths, in many cases just flat-out lies. In America, we're supposed to have a chance to see the evidence against us and face our accusers. I'm very anxious to do that. If Mr. Page and Mr. Manafort do the same thing, frankly, I think the whole Russian meme, which really starts as a Clinton campaign press release, is finally put to bed. There is no collusion, and at least none that I know about, in Donald Trump's campaign for president.
We will be watching the hearings. We will be watching for your testimony. Mr. Stone, thanks for joining us this morning.
George, thank you for having me here and giving me a chance to tell my side of it.